Hello, and welcome to the first video coming to you from the place of my birth, from the place where my roots first dug deep. I am currently in Los Angeles, California, in the US, and what a shift. What a shift. It's only been a few days, and yet I know, I know that there's something here. There's something to be worked on, through. There's something to allow. There's something to surrender to. And my ancestors want me preparing. They want me to come to reconcile, to not hide anymore, also to show who it is I am returning to this place as, the woman that I'm returning as. It's been 2 years since I first left Los Angeles for my 3rd year of teaching in Spain. And really in November it will be 4 years since I moved away from the United States. 4 years is a big cycle. It's been a beautiful, life-changing, soul-satisfying, core-shaking 4 years. And what I mean by that is I left as a good, a good Mexican-American girl, let's say, woman. There wasn't too much that was, I guess, that stood out about me, except for the fact that I had already developed a love for travel, and I had been finding ways every few years, sometimes every year, to take at least one big trip somewhere outside of the US. And so, for all intents and purposes, I moved to Spain with the idea that I would come back, that I would teach a year or two, experience, travel, grow, hopefully meet some sexy foreigners. And I had this idea, I had this vision of what I thought living abroad and having a job abroad, like what it would mean for my progression, what it would mean for my being. Sure, it would be something else I could eventually put on a resume, let's say. But I really wanted to see what it would mean for me. What would traveling 1,000+ miles away and settling in a very different, cold part of Spain, like what would that mean for me? How would that change me? How would I have to adjust? How would I adjust to not seeing friends and family regularly? With 9-hour time difference, even our Skype or video or FaceTime, all of those things were going to be a challenge. And the beginning of studying abroad. Well, that's really where it started. I studied abroad in Spain in 2008. And even though I was in a big city, even though I was in the capital, I really, really got to see if I could live in a different place. I really got to test myself with different cultural norms. Luckily, it was a language I spoke. I spoke Spanish when I went out there. But it was also a very different type of Spanish. It was also a very different type of European day-to-day core value lifestyle change. So going back to Galicia, I moved there November 2015, the weekend before Thanksgiving. And landing there was so full of excitement, was so off my rocker, excited for the undertaking. Assistant English teacher in Spain, in España, country that I always saw myself living in because I had gotten that little preview, that little taster in 2008. Galicia, España, that little piece of my soul that I reclaimed once I began living in Lugo is such an important part of this whole journey. I couldn't be doing the work I am doing now without first having returned to Spain to reconcile that part of my bloodline. The part of my bloodline that I've always looked at with disdain, shame, anger. You know, the colonizers, Spain, Europe, they're the colonizers. They're the ones that invaded, not discovered. And I had to go all the way to Spain to realize that everything is divine, including the most painful parts of history, including the most painful parts of myself that almost didn't play with each other, right? They didn't play well with each other, even within me. You know, I am kind of a lighter skinned brown Mexican American. If I had been darker, I would have had a different trajectory. I would have had different treatment. I would have had just a different set of rules, maybe even, to operate in. If I had been whiter, I might have had also a different trajectory, a different path, maybe a chip on my shoulder. Who knows, you know? But here I am this mixture of the two, and they have never fully, at least up until that point, they had never fully reconciled with each other. I was this angry daughter, granddaughter of immigrants, granddaughter of Mexican immigrants into California. But really I was this, you know, sheltered, well provided for, never wanted for anything. Um, Granddaughter of immigrants, but one that had everything in her favor, at least from a minority standpoint. You know, my parents cared about education. My whole family cared about education, so it was a no-brainer we were going to go to college. Um, my parents worked hard enough to send us to private school, you know, partially because they wanted us to grow up Catholic, you know, with all of that Catholic support in the Catholic school systems, but partially because they also didn't trust the public school system. So I had so much in my favor of what was available to me. And yet it wasn't until going to university and taking courses called ethnic studies and Latin American history and really diving into these themes about the colonizers and about the rape and the pillage of the planet and of these people that are my people, that are my bloodline. It wasn't until then that I was like, oh, I have this thing with Spain. I have this thing, this curiosity and this need to go there. And I couldn't pinpoint at the time that it was so much deeper. But that came with time. And that's what landing in Galicia was the beginning of. It was the beginning of I felt like an outsider in Spain and Europe, and I felt like I was so happy to be there and I was so blessed to be there, but I was immediately put into this other category, you know, of you speak great Spanish, but are you sure you're American? You speak like really great Spanish. How did you learn? You know, and I never had any problem saying I'm Mexican, I'm Mexican, I'm Mexican. I would say it loud, I would say it proud. And yet I feel like a part of me always wanted to not be the other. Somehow I wanted to feel like that was home too, like they, I guess, even could see me as part of them, as, you know, Spanish descendant, let's say. And I never got that. At least not the first, at least not the first year. Um, yeah, they considered me American. They considered me Mexican. And all I wanted was to retrace history, to understand how that part of the world felt so entitled. Oof, to take religion, to take their customs, to take their language, to take their language and obliterate all of the native languages and obliterate all of our practices, all of our customs, all of our ritual, all of our connection. And so slowly, what Galicia gave me was a window. It gave me a window into my spiritual self. Why? Because I had an esoteric shop just down the street from my house that also doubled as the natural food shop where I could buy organic things and locally sourced fruits and vegetables and breads and everything. But they also sold crystals. And the woman also provided Reiki services. And they also were hosting workshops in the back of this tiny little shop. And so really, this place ended up allowing me to further the curiosity that had begun right before moving to Spain, starting a yoga practice, taking a spiritual trip to Sedona, Arizona, dabbling with oracle cards and tarot. And yeah, this shop just became like a place where I felt safe, a place where I could speak of what was coming up for me, what I felt, the way I felt the energy, the way I felt the sickness that was falling upon me from the moment I arrived to Galicia, the losing my throat, losing my voice, just different adjustments, different different energies. So this was the window. This was my baby step. This was a curiosity, like a childlike curiosity, walking in a shop with all of these beautiful crystals. Once again, like just allowing the pure joy that would come up in me when I would see her shop and see what she had to offer and see what she sold. And, you know, it was a window to begin exploring, to begin remembering, to begin doing and being all the things that I was never allowed to be in California. Because let's face it, our families, our structure, our society, our culture often dictates who we are as young adults, as children, in our 20s, in our 30s, and beyond, even. Until we get that window, until we get that moment where we just know that something's not right. This isn't it. There has to be something greater. There has to be something better that's going to make my heart feel alive, that's going to let me work and be proud of whatever it is I'm doing, so that I'm not just a robot, so that I'm not just in this system that needs bodies to create this whole matrix. I have a feeling this video could be a really long video, so I might have to do it in parts. But the point of realizing that I have done this cycle, coming back to California almost 4 years after leaving for the first time to go on my own quest, on my own remembering, picking up the pieces of myself all over the world, starting with Spain, starting with that bloodline, coming back here. I see, in the week that it's been, I see that there is much work to do to help other people, to help other women, possibly to help people in my family who also feel like this isn't it. This can't be it. I am not happy. I am not thriving. I am not vibrant. I am not proud every day of the person I am showing up as in the world. And a couple days ago, on the equinox, a few of us women met up. It was only 4 of us. It was actually a perfect, synchronistic, um, divinely orchestrated, short and sweet first sisterhood meeting here in LA. And the theme was probably it just organically came out within the first 20 minutes of us being together. And it was about women, Latina women. Latina women and all of our traumas and all of our obstacles, all of our healing work, healing this lifetime, healing our generational ancestors, those that are alive, our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers, as far back as you want to take it. And this is the work that I'm committed to do. This is part of it. It's not all of it, but it is a grand part of the work that I am here on planet Gaia, Tierra, Earth, part of what I'm here for. So this is an invitation. If you're in Los Angeles, if you're Latina, even if you're not Latina, but if you're willing to hang out with a bunch of Latinas who want to work through some stuff, who want to support each other, who want to witness each other, who want to raise each other up, and everyone is welcome to come and do the work. And I'm going to see if we can facilitate in October at least 2, 3, 4 more of these. And I say October because I don't know where I will be after this. I don't know where the path will take me. I am a feather in the wind. I am an instrument. I am a vessel of spirit telling me when and where to move. But for now, I'm here and I am so excited, so grateful, so willing to serve. I love you.